Giant to all our viewers on I'm Still Human. In fact, it is on a very strong demand from our viewers on the platform of I Am Still Human, who have been telling us that we must invite somebody who can give us answer to logistics, supply chain, manufacturing hub, and all the challenges that we have seen on the area of COVID and China in the recent time. I welcome you, Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu, a great professional, to the forum of I'm Still Human. Giant to you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Uh, I must tell our viewers that Lieutenant General Balbir Singh Sandhu is the former Director General of Supply and Transport of Indian Army. He was also Director General of Information Technology, and currently he's a distinguished fellow with the USI, that is a think tank of the Army, Army, MEA, and MOD perspective. And he's a regular contributor to military think tanks of CLAWS and IDSA. There can't be any other person better to deal with the subject of logistics, manufacturing hub, and supply chain. And he's written extensively, especially after COVID-19 has visited the world. And he's analyzed the aspect of logistics in a great way. He's one professional for whom I've got a deep respect, because not only that he's a logistician, he's a strategist. And beyond that, he's been contributing at the strategic level in a very big way. I'll straight away start from this point only with you, Journal, that after COVID-19 has come in, and the way Indian government has looked at the whole perspective of supply chains in our nation, what's your perspective on this challenge which has been thrown at our nation from logistic point of view and supply chain point of view?
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's indeed an honor to join you on this platform. I consider myself very privileged to have been invited. And the subject of supply chain logistics in the strategic perspective is very close to my heart. So if we look at the current situation of supply chain management post the outbreak of COVID, it is the culmination of decades of something that was happening and the world was closing its eyes to. Say about 4 decades back, in 1980, the GNP of India and China was same. China got into its 4 modernization, which was primarily backed by economic modernization. This is one country which went into this phase without liberalizing the society and the political system. As a result, they could provide the world with the cheapest possible goods. And materialistic as the world is, the whole globe put all their eggs into the basket of China where manufacturing is concerned, and it willy-nilly became a global supply chain hub. And as the COVID-19 came into being and it started affecting the whole globe vertically and laterally, the effect was felt. Can you imagine India, which prides itself in the pharma sector, more than I think 60% of the ingredients for pharma comes from there. Almost 10 to 20% for auto industry comes from there. And countries like US are even worse hit with the supply chain concentrating at one place. In fact, prior to COVID, during the trade war between US and China, the likes of America and other European countries are already, at least the Americans were already thinking of cutting out their risk in putting all the supply chain in one place, and they were looking for alternatives. However, post-COVID, the global economy has been so badly hit with China's being the fulcrum of supply chain that it is now thinking of how to mitigate risks, how to have contingency planning, as we call in the military terminology, and how do you have alternative sources, near sourcing. And so if Japan is giving massive incentive for people to shift their manufacturing back to Japan or to alternate locations, Likewise, America wants job for Americans. You must have heard of this. But what we as Indians have to remember is there's a very famous saying by John F. Kennedy. He says when Chinese write the word crisis, CRISIS, they write in two brush or two waves in the way they have their script. The one shows the danger and the other shows the opportunity. So like as you being a co-commander, you know, most military history teaches us that a lot of people who are at the verge of defeat and they grabbed an opportunity and they became winners. So I would say India at this,
So beautifully you talked about the word crisis, but if you look at the word crisis, RIS, rise is also out of the crisis. In fact, this crisis is a
absolutely.
great opportunity by itself. In fact, the word which you said grab. Now is the time to grab this strategic opportunity. See, the decoupling from China, the resetting which the world is looking at, the shift of the manufacturing hub, the shift of the realignment of the supply chain. This is what the opportunity has come our way. I want to know from you because you have looked at the supply logistic point of view for the military from Siachen to Andaman Nicobar, and you've done it so efficiently and proudly. I want to know from you, from the experience of military supply chain and logistics, which you handled personally as a leader in the supply and transport arena. I want to know how should national level align towards manufacturing hub shift, supply chain, make in India, alternative, local, all this combined. I would like to hear from you with your experience and a strategic perception. How do we realign the whole aspect?
Okay. So what is happening is most of the Western countries who are looking for alternate supply chain hubs to reduce dependence on China, they are looking at countries like India, number one. They're looking at Indonesia, Thailand. They're looking at Vietnam. Now, whoever provides a better platform for investments will be the country, because I think when it comes to business, the global business houses are absolutely selfish. And let me tell you one thing: Vietnam, being again a communist country, having quicker decision making processes, less vulnerability to democratic processes, is again becoming a very favorite of the investor. But I think the Indian government has grabbed this, and if you see in the crisis of COVID has also been used now in this package of 20 lakh crores. It has come along with a series of reforms, and if we are able to reform, India as a country has been credited with handling corona better than anybody else, right? That goes into India having a much better spoken reputation. China today is trying to tell the world that the best model is autocratic model and with a little bit of stick. India has proved to the world that democracy can also achieve results with a motivated population. So today the country is united, as you see, we've seen in the NDA, we've seen in a field area. Whenever there's a crisis, there's always a convergence of people thought, and there's a more Josh, more let me do it now types, and even the fence sitters join the national mainstream. So I would say we have to look inwards. Let us say I don't agree with this concept of boycott so and so, hit him. No, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से ये खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. So make yourself.
General, so beautifully said. You use two beautiful words, Josh and inward. I think that's
Yeah.
a beauty. You have seen as a nation after COVID came in, the entire nation has surprised the world on the production of PPE, mask, and other aspects. We rose up to the occasion, and now we are the number two manufacturer in the entire world. In fact, the best part of the whole game is that our supply chain of consumerism, consumer, remain absolutely right and correct. In fact, there was no looting, nothing like we have seen even in the big nations that it happened. General, we have a large number of youth who are listening to you. There's a large population of entrepreneurs. the large number of industrious MSME members who are there, part of our group, and they want to know from you what should be our strategy, concept, and the design for having a model for logistics, supply chain, and manufacturing for our nation at this hour.
See, like I said, uh, you have to have self-belief. And what I have observed with my little 3 years outside the army and interacting with this people in the corporate world, at times, some of us get too carried away by high-end corporate words and values, take a big loan, and then try and go into a loss, and then come into gain. I've spoken to and I've interacted with some very innovative yet conservative businesses. You need to use not too many management terminologies and technologies. You have to follow the formula KISS, keep it simple. I won't use the last word. So basically, you have to go down to the basics, have a very, very dynamic business strategy where you are able to understand what is the need, work on the formula of hope of success and fear of failure, a balance between the two. It's a management method where I would say I will do this to get this much advantage. But how am I going to handle if this goes wrong at this stage or at the stage two this time? So one is look inwards, keep it simple, have faith in yourself, and there is no shortcut to hard work, and risk mitigation and risk taking ability. Risk mitigation is today is a world of disruption, positive disruption as well as negative disruption. So have your contingency planning the way we do it in the army to say, what will I do if this happens? A thinker type question, if it's been thought earlier, you will handle it much better. Contingency planning, hard work, simplistic approach, and I'm sure you'll succeed.
General, in fact, to be very honest, I've got a great respect for your three modalities. You're a logistician, you're a strategist, and you're a realistic. In fact, these are the three beautiful qualities that you have in you. I would recommend very
Thank you.
strongly, I would very strongly recommend, why don't you open a center which deals with the logistic, manufacturing, supply chain? I'll tell you the reason. If we look at Make in India initiative, which so proudly and so brilliantly Prime Minister had started, but unfortunately it did not take off the way it should be because we traditionally have been supervisors, traders, but we have not been manufacturing because of long, backlog of Britishers, Mughal never permitted us to be manufacturers. Can you change the basic DNA? Because what you said, our basic dynamism, you use those words. I would request if you can just throw a light on aspect that we got to change our characteristics of being manufacturer, being supply chain, being logistic. Because you've been the absolutely the apex parameters of logistics. You have fed the entire Indian armed forces from Siachen to Andaman Nicobar. You practically done it on the ground. So I would recommend strongly that you open up a center or a research center or something of that nature where the entire youth, entrepreneurs, they come, industrials, MSMEs. See, to be very honest, let's not only expect the government to do it. There is a nation beyond the government. So can I request you to think at this and can you give a little forethought on this perspective, please?
Firstly, sir, let me thank you. Thank you so much for having so much of confidence in me to guide a larger population. Such aspirations have always been with us, and we are always those of us who feel energetic at post 60, because somebody said the most creative period of your life is 60 to 70, right? So one can open center, one can open farms, and one can open innovative entrepreneurship ventures. This certainly is on in my hard disk, on my mind. Probably at an opportune moment when I find myself enabled. Right now, I shall be contributing as I have been towards all the think tanks, primarily in the supply chain management, because I have a lot of my friends who work on the strategy and insurgency, etc. And having been appointed the distinguished fellow with the USI, I think I have a sense of responsibility. So I'll start with that. And as things grow, I totally agree with you. I would like to someday, with partnership with some friends, open up a center where you can guide, innovate, and provide consultancy to people, because there is no shortcut for India other than becoming great. And it's a country in which all of us have to get counted. We all have to claim ownership on this country. Like you rightly said, the country doesn't belong to the governments only. All of us are the shareholders of this country. And anything.
General, uh, see, to be very honest, at this moment, our nation is looking for solution. Our nation is looking for solution to produce alternative manufacturing hub, alternative supply chain, a shift to make in India, and self-reliant, local. These are the vocal for local. These are the key points. I would request you to please reconsider that.
Perfect.
See, we are looking for solution and strategy. You have experience. There are very few uh, top leadership people who got a practical experience. I want to know from you, as a Director General of Supply and Transport of Indian Army, looking after the needs of the nation from Siachen to Andaman Nicobar. Tell us, what are the principles of your logistic planning at strategic and macro level?
See, what I found was at times the one of the biggest thing as you go up is to shorten the OODA loop, and that's not only for strategy and tactics; it's for logistics as well. You must understand any delayed decision costs money to the vendor. It costs money to him. He makes it up from the government. So economy is a very important principle. And on the other side, you are duty bound to provide the requisite service to the end user, because he is your God. You exist because of that soldier who is farthest from you, right? So what I felt was, if I could reduce bureaucratic hurdles which were delaying the decision making, procurement, and distribution. So, cutting the OODA loop, exercising economy, having a fair deal with much more communication both ends towards the procurement, that is your vendors and others. They must have absolute access to you. You must show absolute transparency and never everyone should be approachable at every level to everyone. And your subordinates must be accessible to those who have to supply you. They
General,
must
General,
be
uh,
accessible.
General, two words which you use, procurement and distribution, and this is a great game of transportation. Many friends from the transport industry have also requested to inquire from you that how should this transport power of India contribute towards the logistic mapping of India?
See, I would go a step further. Um, with the improved state of communication, transportation and movement of goods in time is almost being taken for granted. And with the GST having been introduced and interstate barriers having been removed, the movement is much faster. So if I am in the transport business, I must take advantage of this by supplementing it with technology. The whole concept of warehousing has changed because of the GST introduction and faster movement of goods. If I have a real-time monitoring, and if I provide comfort and others to my transport stakeholders, my drivers and my conductors and others, I can cut down time spent in warehousing if I have more just-in-time logistics with a reliable transportation system. And once you get to that, and then you could have, the vehicle never gets tired. You might have a concept of changing drivers midway so that you move faster and that vehicle is optimally utilized. But remember, there is a shortage of skilled manpower. So you need more skilled manpower. You need to give dignity to this profession, and you need to train them and make them feel proud of this. That is the way you can economize. And if you economize in transport and you have timely delivery and using technology for every bit, you will be a great gainer.
General, that's great. In fact, I think I have got touched with the word which you used, dignity for skill, karam. I think most important is that you have to manufacture. You got to deliver. The consumer is waiting for it. In fact, you have also been Director General of Information Technology for entire Indian Army. You have looked at the aspect of digitization, transformation, modernization, and technology. I would request you to please throw some light on the aspect that how does this artificial intelligence, technology, and logistics get combined, uh, for the for the solutions of supply chain and manufacturing.
Okay. The other day I was reading somewhere that the supply chain management, is it a function of transportation or is it a function of technology? The time has come when logistics and supply chain management is becoming more technology dependent than transportation dependent and warehousing dependent. So if you have the use of things like robotics, artificial intelligence, your processes to have RFID, quicker movement, the logistics become that much simpler. And today, unfortunately, in India, I was interacting with some tech giants the other day who provide technological solutions. India has to cover a lot of ground. I was surprised to when I asked them, he says we just about done 20-30%. So use of technology, and in the army, as we saw, you being the deputy chief handling the same affair, uh, because of security reasons, at times by the time we introduce a change in technology, it is outdated. So keeping it upgraded and keeping it integrated. At times there are industries which are technology driven within, but when you connect it with the back end and the delivery end, they need further interfaces. So integration, keeping it up, and quicker decision making is when you can take advantage of technology
General,
like AI.
General, actually, all our viewers would like to know that behind this clarity in strategy, concept, and vision, you were also an instructor in staff college. You taught the Indian Army on the perspective of logistics. So, what were your teaching to the Indian officers or to the Indian Army on this aspect of logistics and strategy combined?
Okay. The interesting thing in the Indian Army is it is one of the most lovely organization to have lived our these years. So I finished the command of my ASC battalion and did my high command course when I was posted in staff college as an instructor. And then you are teaching gunners the fire planning, and you're teaching engineers the obstacle plan. So it's a very interesting job where you interact. Again, becoming an instructor was like becoming a student again, because you have to study 10 times more. But it's a fabulous place where everybody is so motivated. So I used to tell one thing to the students in the syndicate. I said, I am your instructor, 10 of you are my students. All 11 of us are very ambitious people who would like to become generals in the Indian Army. Let us not hide it. I said, we all want to become generals. Now there are two ways of becoming a general. One is, one is that one is that I must become a general, and I don't mind if my organization also grows. Second way is my organization must grow at all costs. And in the byproduct, I must become a general. Now, to become a general in the byproduct, you have to really make your organization grow. And let me tell you one thing, that is what we are taught as subalterns. That is what those of us to whom the God has been kind.
General, I want to know your alma mater is Senate School Kapurthala, a very proud place, and we both share the things. I want to know what did you learn from the school which has made you a strategist, a logician of this level? What was the learning in school at that time?
The learning in school was from the age of 9. You are a decision maker. From the age of 9, you are a survivor. From the age of 9, especially those of us who came from the rural background, I at least for sure counted myself as a privileged to have been in that school. I felt proud that I am in a school where I can interact with people, I can learn so-called English in those days. No, I was in an English medium school. In those days, it was such a rare thing. And that exuberance and that josh to achieve and delivering results, that's something which the army, I mean, I always tell my subordinates, he says, sir, I am going on posting to so and so place. What can you help me with? I said, let me tell you one thing, seniors are finding very few guys who can deliver. If you can deliver, you don't need to know anyone,
Beautiful,
your boss
beautiful,
will put you.
beautiful.
So
General, you
that's what
have
we
a
learn from school.
General, you have a special love for Northeast. You commanded your unit in Northeast, and you're also doing a PhD on connectivity with the reference to BIMSTEC. Now, the whole game of logistic, manufacturing, everything is connected to connectivity. We have seen how China have, with the ill intention, planned this China-Pakistan economic corridor through POK, which is our area. But when it comes to BIMSTEC, it's an alternative of connectivity. Can you throw some light on your what has been your thesis and how you have on this issue of a research on such a beautiful topic?
Firstly, you being from a SAM regiment and me having been repeatedly posted to Northeast, Northeast is very close to my heart. And it was an obvious subject having
To
done
all
four.
of us, to all of us,
Oh,
to all of
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was an obvious subject I picked up when I decided to do my PhD. So, one is that as I picked up research material and books, I felt so glad that I know each and everything that they are speaking about, and you could practically connect. Because even when I was a colonel, my unit was deployed in 5 states: Nagaland, Manipur, South Assam, Mizoram, Tripura. And same where I was the brigadier, Brigade C3 Corps, I had a similar expanse. And when I was a young second lieutenant, I was in Arunachal and walked the entire area up to Bumla and down to Jung. And, it's been very interesting and I love that place. Now, let me tell you one very simple one-liner. Why is the connectivity a problem in Northeast? It is the division of Bengal on partition. You must be aware that Kolkata to Agartala is 600 kilometers via Bangladesh. It is 1600 kilometers via Siliguri. Now, can you imagine the cost of logistics when you go via this? This area of Northeast is connected to rest of India by just 23 kilometers, and it has a border with the neighbors which is about 5,600 kilometers, right? So I feel, and the GNP of Assam was 20-30% higher than the national average before independence, and today it is that much lower. The reason is very simple. We were sleeping when this area was logistically cut off. Yes, in the beginning we had no choice. Bangladesh was East Pakistan. So you couldn't have connected it. Otherwise, the inland waterways, the rail connection, the road connection, since we didn't have that, we should have really been hugging Myanmar from the 50s, right? And the seaports of Chittagong and Sitwe, etc., in Myanmar are much closer to Northeast. We should have had an alternate supply chain. I wrote an article in the Senjos recently, redesigning the supply chain for Northeast India. And
General,
government by the
uh, General, we have moved away from look east, act east, all those things. Now we got to really do something in the east, and we are into it. I feel very happy that you have taken on the subject of a PhD for connectivity in the northeast. I feel very proud, and this also shows the love of armed forces in the northeast. General, you've been a rider, you've been a sportsman, equestrian, you played polo for the nation, you been equestrian officer in the National Defense Academy. Your love for horse riding and polo. Please share your experiences with us.
Uh, I have I did my TEDx talk on soldiering, sports, and leadership, right? So these two things, what took me wherever I reached in the Indian Army. I feel, and if you remember right from our younger days when we were second lieutenant, it's not only about polo, it's not only about any game, say golf, it is about sports. And if you take sports as your aid to leadership, you don't need to read pamphlets. Actually, in the army, there's only one yellow book, Leadership and Military Command. which is a very precise book. But
Beautiful.
what you learn in a playground and stumbling, bumping with your jawan in a basketball or a football ground, that lesson in sports is worth million books read, right? So I strongly believe any sport, and it should be treated. In fact, some of us, as we grow, we get drifted into PowerPoint presentations. Sports, be it polo, be it football, be it hockey, and playing sports is the greatest aid to leadership for any organization, and for army
Excellently,
it's a necessity.
excellently put. I know you must be having almost about 100 medals in polo and riding, and because
No,
you've
that
been so exclusive in this game, I want to ask little. Our some of our viewers, they have requested that we must know more about you. I know your wife Kuka. She's such a grace, such a beauty, such a talent. I know she's one of the most passionate photographer I've seen, and I've seen some of her photographs. Uh, can you tell us about Kuka's, this passion which she had, and how did you as a husband, how did you help her in this game?
uh, we as husbands in the army do very little help for the ladies. It is they who help. It is they who help us by tolerating us that we become generals. So she has a she has a she has a passion for creativity, right? She will be the first one to advise you to wear the pagdi color that you are wearing, because it gives adds to your persona. So she had a flair for creativity always. So she did her after our marriage. I was posted as a major in Delhi. She did her course in textile designing, surface ornamentation, and so they she topped the college. Then she did graphics and animation, and then she did photography. So anything creative, she enjoys it. And unlike us, we follow a regimented path. The creative people like to follow a creative path. So she's been into all these fields. Anything creative, she loves. So
The
that's what
journal,
she's.
journal, all that Angrezi you've spoken about your wife, the wall behind you actually speaks volume. The way she has kept the home. In fact, she's such a wonderful personality, and it's a great learning when one interacts with such a persona. I would like to know a little more about the family. Your both sons are 6 feet plus. I think your eldest son is 6 feet 5 inches. So, what are their passions
Anji.
at the moment? What is their passions at the moment?
See, see, the elder one, I mean, they're all very passionate about Indian Army, though the elder one would have joined, but he had an injury in his arm while riding with me. So he went on to doing his engineering MBA. He did worked with the KPMG for 5 years, and now after doing his course on public policy, international development, he is working with the World Bank in Washington DC, primarily on development, and his passion is telecom. And the younger one, having done he was keen to become a professional golfer till I told him that besides golf, also get your profession going. He did very well in a class 12 to join Hindu college. He did his graduation from Hindu, and he's currently working with a setup called Invest India, which is under Ministry of, I think, Commerce. This is a organization which encourages people to invest in India, both domestic as well as international. So he is with
Excellent.
that, and God has been very kind, and
Excellent.
we enjoy.
In fact, please give our love and blessings to both of them. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I would now go towards the concluding aspect of it. I'm going to ask you short question. Please give short answers because this is a conclusive paragraph of the whole game. What is the message for the youth of India?
Have faith in yourself, work hard, there you will succeed.
What is your message for logisticians of India?
Simplify your logistics, cut extra costs, use technology to become efficient.
What is the message for the industrialists in India?
Don't use massive jargon of the management, work at the ground level, cut costs to make your goods economical, and I think another point from the government is to facilitate them to make things which are cheaper, skill your manpower.
What is your message for the transporters of India?
Uh, have a holistic approach, have a life cycle approach to your transport. At times we have a piecemeal approach in which we run uneconomical transport. In transportation, people expect you to cut costs, reduce time to carriage, enhance reliability. So there's a thing called RAMD, reliability, availability, maintainability, and dependability. So these RAMD factor must be high in transportation.
What is the message for women of India?
They've already, in so many fields, overtaken men. They are a great asset in the Indian Army, and they must continue to have faith in themselves, exhibit their talent, don't stay back, take initiative, and be partners in the national building.
What is your message to Indian Army on the aspect of logistics and modernization?
We have to have lean, mean, and innovative logistics. Do not, in logistics, go too much by tradition and hang on to old archaic methods. You have to innovate, you have to cut costs, you have to become lean, and you have to have a balance of just in time and just in case. You can't afford failure. Logistics cannot fail.
General, what is your message to your home, Parivar of Army Service Corps, ASC?
Army Service Corps is the most reliable, innovative, creative organization which I was the proud member of. All that I can tell them and all that I said in my tenure when I was a DGST is thank you very much for working hard for me. Continue to work hard for this organization. You are the pillar of Indian Army.
General Balbir, now I'll close this such a beautiful interview, which I loved it, with a dictate to you. When I say dictate, it means hukam to you. You will open a center which will look after the logistics, manufacturing hub, supply chain needs of India. I want a commitment for you in just very short message by which date you are opening a center for India on these issues. Give me a commitment straight.
Very soon.
No, that's not like a journal. I want a date. Today is 25 June 2020. Give me
No, date is. We will do it at the earliest.
Okay.
I'll give you a date
Okay.
after due consideration.
Okay, I'm giving you a date.
After due consideration.
Okay. The final word, I'm giving you a date. It has to be before or on 15th August 2020. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you, interacting with you, and I think our viewers are going to learn a lot from it. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you, sir.